Alright, have a little Q&A to get through here. First off, we have Cordonis, and he asks, in regards to cellaring the beer, do you have any other advice for people who don't have cellars or might be clueless as to which beer to start aging? Like I said before, I'm not an expert in cellaring beer. I've just started doing it myself. As for the type of beer to start cellaring with, I picked Chimay Grand Reserve. Apparently that's one of the most popular ones to start with, and so that's what I went with basically. If Chimay Grand Reserve is not available in your area, or if it's not the sort of beer you're interested in, again, I would suggest go to brewbasement.com. They have quite a few different beers listed that are cellar worthy, and I'm sure you'll probably find something on that site. You'll find a beer that you can get your hands on and that would be to your liking. As far as where to cellar if you don't actually have a cellar in your house, basically any place that you can keep cool, and you can keep any place you can keep cool year round, and you can keep the light away from your bottles. So even if your room is like well air conditioned and fairly cool, you can do the same thing I did: stick your bottles in a box, plastic milk crate, put a blanket, nice thick blanket over them. Voila, there you go, you're cellaring beer. You don't have to actually have a cellar to do it. So yeah, hopefully that'll answer that question. Bagsy number 4, excluding Corona and Budweiser, which beers would you not recommend? I'll not list specific beers. I will say stay away from, in general, it's probably a good idea to stay away from those caffeinated beers. Have you ever seen those? I don't even know if they make them anymore, but there was a little fad there a couple of years back where companies were making caffeinated beers that were marketed towards the younger crowd who wanted to go clubbing, the type of person who drink Red Bull and vodka, right? That sort of thing. The whole idea is just makes me sort of nauseous. Another thing I'd avoid is any beer where lime is added to it in the brewing process or after the brewing process, whichever it may be. A good example would be, I believe, Miller High Life. That's their lime beer, right? And the recent Budweiser Bud Light Lime. I'm probably going to have to review these at some point, but yeah, I'd avoid those. I mean, I don't see the point in drinking one of those beers. I mean, essentially what you're doing is competing with Corona, and they're cutting out the middleman by adding the lime in themselves, so you don't have to do it, right? What's the point? They take the time to brew all of the taste out of their beers in the first place, and then they go and they add something like lime to it. What the fuck? I mean, I know they're tried to make sort of a refreshing, sort of cooler type thing for summer drinkers and partiers and things like that, but to me that's not beer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that makes me sound like a snob or a stick in the mud or whatever, but that's not beer. That's beer for pod people. And I say that Corona, Budweiser, beers like that, they're beers for pod people, okay? They even remind me of the pod people from the 1978 remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because anytime you badmouth Corona or Budweiser, or you point out that their beers are shit, they realize you're different from them, and then they start pointing at you and yelling like a spastic, okay? So, yeah, avoid that shit. Calvaris, since you've never commented on food, do you often think about food pairings with beer, or have any recommendations? Not really. I'm not too interested. There's other reviewers and I'm sure you've seen them, like Zach Avery, Video Beer Reviews, the guy who does the stuff on the patio there. They do a really good job. Sometimes I'll try out food pairings and stuff. Like I enjoy watching videos about food pairings with beer. Sometimes they give me interesting ideas, pique my curiosity. But as far as me personally, I'm not really all that interested in doing it myself. I'll leave it to far more experienced people in those matters. I'm just strictly going with beer reviews. Okay. Oh, I missed one by Bagsy number 4. By the way, I'll go back to that. What's your favorite British ale of all time? That's a real tough one. I'd tempted to say Fuller's ESB because that's probably one of the highest quality ales you're ever going to find in the world. But when it comes down to it, just sheer personal enjoyment, I have to give my hats off to Caledonian 80. That's just an exceptional Scottish ale. Very, very full of flavor. Very easy drinking. There's something about it I just really, really love. I can't get enough of it. Chad9976, are you on Facebook or MySpace? Yes and no. Was on MySpace for a while, got sick of it. I hated the format, I hated the whole idea behind it. So I canceled my account. I was on Facebook too, had the friends list, yada yada yada. After Facebook 2.0 came out, I sort of got tired of it, and I deactivated my account. I did reactivate it recently, but I don't use it for friends or anything like that. I reactivated it because my boss passed away about 2 months ago now, and I wanted to join a memorial group and leave a message on the wall of some of my memories of him, and so that's the only reason I use it. And his final question, Chad9976, and he's asked this question twice now, so I suppose I should answer it. Why do you cut your hair so short? Are you going bald like me? I cut my hair short because that's my favorite style of haircut. It's much more manageable. I like how I look with being either bald or having very, very short hair. When my hair gets beyond a couple inches in length, it gets frizzy, it gets thick, it gets unmanageable, looks terrible. So yeah, basically that's why I cut it short. And I can parlay all my saved shampoo money into beer money too, so it's a win-win situation really. Am I going bald? No. My hairline's always been quite high ever since I was a teenager. I am a little bit thinner on top, but that has more to do with the typical every male over 25 losing some hair. It's just, you know, the natural sort of hair loss, not actual male pattern baldness or whatever. So, and by the way, Chad, I thought your Anchor Steam review there from a little while back was quite interesting. All I have to say that is imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery, and it's pronounced about, not about. Alright guys, any more questions, put them under this video, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.